Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to review Black Panther Wakanda Forever. But before I do that, let me give you the synopsis, and this comes from AMC. In Marvel Studios' Black Panther Wakanda Forever, Queen Ramonda, Shuri, M'Baku Okoye, and the Dora Milaje fight to protect their nation from intervening world powers in the wake of King T'Challa's death. As the Wakandans strive to embrace their next chapter, the heroes must band together with the help of War Dog Nakia and Everett Ross and forge a new path for the kingdom of Wakanda. Introducing Tenoch Huerta as Namor, King of Talocan, the film also stars Dominic Thorne, Michaela Cole, Mabel Cadena, and Alex Livanili. And also directed by Ryan Coogler, and so on and so forth. So I enjoyed the film. I liked it. I really did. It was good. Um, so it's a weird situation where like with there's certain movies where you see them and instantly you're like, wow, this is just incredible, right? It just hits you off the bat, like, wow, this is just amazing. And there are other movies where you enjoy the film, but you don't really fully sort of get the full emotions after I think a few days, and I think that's going to be the case with this one for me. Like I said, I did enjoy it, but did I love it as much as the first one? Maybe not, because the thing with the first one, there was this energy behind it, right? Just this raw energy. Um, yeah, it was just it was different. It felt different. So this one didn't have the same energy because we already got the first one. So it just makes sense that this one wouldn't have the same type of energy. So that's why I guess maybe I didn't love it as much because that energy for the first one, man, was huge, right? So and the story was great, and the story was really good on this one too. So, but like I said, I think this one's gonna hit me more in a few days, and I'm definitely gonna watch it again because I saw it in IMAX, and I do want to check it out in Dolby. So I'll probably watch it in the second week. So in this film, right, they had to deal with Chadwick Boseman's death in real life. So they obviously had to pivot. They had to, obviously rewrite the story and address the death, right? So the way the movie started was with Shuri trying to come up with some kind of compound, some kind of way to save T'Challa, but ultimately she couldn't, and he passed away. Right? They never said of what. They just know it was. We were just told some type of disease, and so his passing, it just it kind of left sort of Wakanda open to I don't know. I want to say invasions, but they were. I guess the world saw them. Okay, this is they're weak right now, so let's strike. So that's what I think. I think the basically is France. They try to they try to get some vibranium by going to the ship somewhere in the sea, and because they thought that there was going to be some vibranium there, they didn't. The Dora Milaje were waiting for them, so they captured him, and so basically, Queen Ramonda was talking to the UN Council, and she brought the mercenaries and presented to them of like, hey, look, I know you guys think we're weak because you guys think the whispers are that we don't have our protected the Black Panther's gone, is dead, and but she's like, no, rest assured, we're not weak. We're the most powerful nation, right? So and she warned them, it's like if you guys continue, we're gonna fight back, right? So that's how it started. And But then, it just showed the emotions, the what they were going through with the death of T'Challa. And then and then we saw another, like, okay, now the US is looking for vibranium themselves. So they have this machine now that can detect vibranium. And so they detect vibranium in the ocean, below the ocean, right? Somewhere deep down in the ocean. And so when they go searching for it and they do find it, that's when we see Namor and the Tolokan appear. And so basically, what gets revealed is that the Tolokan, they also had possession of vibranium. And so what ended up happening is so when the Spanish invaded and came and invaded, uh, I forgot where exactly they were, but when they came and invaded the people, uh, they one of the, like, the shamans, I guess, he saw a vision. He went under the water and he grabbed the vibranium, and so basically he made it into like this liquid form and had people drink it. And so at that time, Neymar's mother was pregnant with him, and they convinced her. She didn't want to, but they convinced her to drink the thing, to drink also the liquid. And when they did, they sort of died, but then I guess they came back to life, and they were all blue now, and they were able to now live underwater. And this was back in the 16 something, the year 16 something. So the 17th century, I believe. And so he's been living for hundreds of years now. So he's that old. So he's like a hybrid, I guess. And I think he even said in the movie, I'm a mutant, like a mutation. Are they saying he's a mutant? I guess because he's using the word mutant. I guess they're sort of saying it, but without saying it. It's like the Marvel way, like the cinematic universe, how they don't necessarily say like the the comic book name, right? They don't always go with that. They'll go around it and be like, oh, like they don't really. I don't think they call Ant Man, right? They go, oh, Hank Pym, right, or whatever, right? So things like that, right? When they don't explicitly call the thing, but that's what they're implying. So it's sort of like that. And so so they've been living under sea, and not showing themselves to anybody because they just don't want to, right? He saw what the Spanish did, and he's like, okay, yeah, let's not deal with the surface world. Let's just live here. But now that the surface world is coming and trying to take the resources, the vibranium, they're like, okay, no, no, no. Now we have to. Now, unfortunately, now we have to appear. Now we have to do something. And so that's what sort of happens. And so he goes to Wakanda, Namor, and he appears to Ramonda and Shuri, and he tells them, and he tells them like, hey, we need to help each other. You bring me the scientist that is able to detect the vibranium, and that way they don't come. That way my people can be safe and we can remain hidden. Or if you don't, I'm gonna come back for you. I'm gonna come back for the surface world. Like, you don't want to fight us. So he was like a threat, right? And so they didn't like that either. So then, like, they're like, okay, we got to go get the scientist. And that's when we get introduced to Riri Williams. So she's the one that developed the technology. I don't think it was. I don't think she developed the technology with the finding vibranium. I think it was just repurposed by the U.S. government to find vibranium, right? Um, I think that's what I think that's what it was. I don't think she necessarily created that machine to do that specific task. I think she did it for something. I don't remember exactly what they explained, but it was able to detect vibranium. So now Neymar wants her, but then they also want to protect her now. So they want to take her back to Wakanda. So as they're trying to take her back, the FBI shows up and they want her as well. They want Shuri, they want Okoye, they want and Riri. But then as they're trying to flee to go back to Wakanda, the 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 people of Namor, the Tolkien people, they show up because they want the scientists, right? They want Riri. So then they have Riri and Shuri surrounded, the Tolokon that is, and Shuri's like, "Hey, look, I'm the princess of Wakanda. Take me, please don't hurt her, right?" So they take both of them. They take both of them, and they take them to Namor underwater to the kingdom. And so Namor is talking to Shuri, and he shows her the kingdom, the kingdom of Tolokan, and he explains to her the whole backstory with the Spanish and his mother, and how he got his powers and how they got their powers and what they've been doing with all these years and all that stuff, right? And he also gives her this this bracelet that belonged to his mother. And so he tells her, "Look, this I need to, the scientist can't live, right? I need to kill her because her technology is going to reveal us, is going to put us in danger, the Tolokan people in danger." But Shuri's like, "No, you can't do that. If you kill her, uh, we're gonna, it's gonna cause. Now we're gonna go into war. I can't allow that to happen, right?" So then, um, what's her? So Nakia gets sent by Ramona to go retrieve Shuri. So she does. She gets Shuri. She gets Riri, and she takes them back to Wakanda. But now, of course, Namor is like, hey, he's pissed, right? So now he really declares war against Wakanda, and he just unleashes like he floods them, and they start fighting, and basically he sort of wins. So everyone gets sent to where Umbaku, where they stay. So everyone gets sent there because it's no longer safe in the city, and so now they have to figure out what they're gonna do. So Shuri decides, okay, let me try again to restore the that herb that Killmonger destroyed in the first movie, in order for more Black Panthers to be selected or born or whatever, for another one to emerge. And so what Shuri ends up doing is using the necklace that Namor gave her. And so with that necklace, she was able to make that herb again, make that flower or whatever it is. I forgot what they call it, the purple heart, or I forgot what they called it. And so now she drinks the liquid. They grind it up. She drinks the liquid, and then she's taken to that other world, like with that Black Panther did, and Killmonger went to, right, in the first movie. But instead of seeing like Ramona or T'Challa, she sees Killmonger. So Killmonger shows up, and they start talking, and she was like, she's confused. She's like, why, why am I seeing Killmonger, right? And he tells her like, hey, look, you want the same. We're the same. You want the same thing. You want revenge, right? You want to do what's necessary for Wakanda. And she's like, no, we're not the same. We're not the same, But she's angry, right? She's angry because before that, when Namor attacked the city, attacked Wakanda, uh, Queen Ramonda died. She died saving Riri. So she drowned trying to saving Riri. And so Shuri is really angry. So she's pissed, right? Because she's dealing with the death of T'Challa, which she hasn't fully sort of explored or come to terms with it. And now she's dealing with the death of her mother. And so all of that, is being compounded, and she wants revenge. So now she wants revenge against Namor, right? So then, of course, there's a war now. That they go to war against Namor and the Telecom people. And so what Shuri and Riri figured out is like, okay, Namor gets his powers from the water. So what if we dry him out essentially? If we dry him out, then he'll be weak. He'll be weaker at least. And that's essentially what they did. They dried him out, and so now Shuri and Namor, they're fighting in this beach, this island, away from everyone else. Everyone else is fighting in a ship, but them two are fighting now, right? So they're going back and forth, right, with their powers because they're both really strong now. Now that Shuri has the Black Panther, she has that superhuman strength, and so does Namor. Namor has that superhuman strength as well. So they're just going at it, right? She even clips or like yank some of the feathers off his ankles, right? That allows him to fly. So and then she's also cutting him up with the claws and stuff like that. But he's also like you know hitting her hard, right? So they're going at it. But then at the end, what ends up happening was, he's trying to get back into the water because he feels weak because he stabs her. So she's like, you know, stuck to like not only is his spear uh, is basically going through her, but so she's going through that, and he's trying to get to the water. So then she starts, you know, she starts remembering, how pissed she is, right, because of what happened with her mother dying, and so she wants that revenge. So she cuts off the spear and she goes after him, and before he can get to the water, she gets to him and is gonna kill him. But then she starts seeing him and seeing, everything that she's been through and everything that he's been through. So essentially, she sees herself within him because he's lost a lot as well. Lost his mother, lost his people, just his home, and when they had to when the Spanish invaded. And so basically, it's like this poster. It's the reflection, right, of them too, essentially. The reflection of the nations as well, if you will. So then she starts seeing all these images, right? And then she sees her mother, and her mother's like, show him who you are. And she's not this vengeful person that she thinks she is, right? Or that she wants to be. So she tells them, look, we cannot be at war, we can't. We need to, we need to be at peace with each other, right? So because if I kill you, we're always going to be at war. So and she tells him, yield, yield. And he does. He says, I yield. And so then they go back to where where the Tolokan people and the Wakandans are fighting, and they both Shuri and Namor, they tell their people, okay, let's go home, right? So that's basically how it ends. Essentially with the fight. Um, there were rumors that behind everything, it was going to be what's his name? Damn, Doctor Doom. That Doctor Doom was going to be the man behind them two, the two nations, to be pitted against each other. They didn't say that in the film, but they could still say that in the future because they can sort of reveal like, oh, he's still behind everything, right? He's the puppeteer maneuvering the nations like the US or other nations to go get the vibranium, right? So they can still technically kind of do that, but they didn't explicitly say or even hint at Doctor Doom at all. So that was one of the rumors. Another rumor was that Nakia was gonna actually had the child of T'Challa, and that was true. So in the mid-credit scene, it was Nakia brought over the son, and he's already, I don't know how old he was, but he was already a young man, a little boy, and so Nakia introduces her son to Shuri. Shuri had no idea, and the reason no one knew about it, oh, the reason well, she didn't know about it is because what they said is that T'Challa and Nakia, they both decided that they wanted him to be raised somewhere where the pressure of the throne wasn't gonna be there, right? So they sort of wanted him to have like a more normal life. But Ramona did know uh, about the boy, her grandson. So that's kind of where it ends. Like I said before, like I said in the beginning, I did enjoy it. It was good. It was really solid film. It's just weird, man. It's just an odd thing with Chadwick Boseman dying, and it just left. Yeah, because he only came out. There was only one movie of the Black Panther, right? Yes, he came out in Civil War, and he came out in the Avengers movies, but as far as like a standalone Black Panther, they only did one. So it just leaves that behind, right? It leaves that void. So that's the thing, right? It was just like I said, there was a special moment when the first one came out, and it's just really hard to replicate that, right? With the death of Chadwick Boseman and essentially the death of the Black Panther, even though there's a new one, but the Black Panther that we knew that we were introduced to. So yeah, it's an odd thing, man. It's a really odd thing. So it's interesting. I mean, even with the Namor, right? He's like in the comics, he's like the anti-hero. He's good and bad essentially, and he's sort of like that, and he's like that in this movie as well. So I did enjoy that because he has no problem killing people. He killed he killed those agents when they came looking for the vibranium undersea. So that's pretty cool, I guess. I'm interested to see what's gonna happen, see how they're gonna use him, see how they're gonna use and where the future's gonna happen with the Black Panther as well. So all that's interesting. So we'll see what happens. I would say go check it out. I think you'll enjoy it. I think you'll like this film. At least I did. Especially if you like Marvel movies. I think you'll like it. So, check it out. I'm gonna check it out again. I want to, like I said, I want to see it in Dolby this time. as opposed to just seeing it in IMAX. And yeah, so I enjoyed it. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a like. If you enjoyed the content of this channel, it would really help me if you would subscribe because it would help me grow. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.